good, and they approved my expense report. So that's awesome.
That's
awesome.
key.
There you go.
Like, yay!
That's all you
thanks,
need.
NVIDIA.
No questions on the expense report, and we
And we are golden. Yay! Yeah, it was fun.
Well, I think we have good stuff. I think we're going to have a fun show today.
Are you sure?
Well, now you've unmasked me, Sarah, with that reaction, which is like in the wake and before an Apple announcement. Sometimes it can be a little rough, but I like the stuff we have in the show today.
Oh, didn't even tell you guys. Guess who stayed up till midnight?
Oh, right, yeah.
iPhone ordered.
What about watch? Just phone or watch?
Just phone. Yeah, I'm not ready for the watch.
Did you get the 10?
Also,
the 10S Max.
I got the Max, and I got it in gold.
So did you get the Max for the minimum? The middle?
No, I got the. I'm the middle child. I'm 256.
Gotcha.
Which is what my phone is now.
You
So
got
I'm
the
like,
Max
okay.
for the medium.
Medium price. Yeah, it's never the same iPhone twice.
Did you pick up a screen protector?
No, but I will, since
Yeah.
my 7 Plus
Did
that
you
I've
keep
had
your
for 2
receipts?
years was shattered within.
Did you drink enough water?
I don't know. The whole thing. I'm such an old person that like I set my alarm for 11:45 because I was like, I'll never stay up.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting, kind of comfortable on the couch. Like, but I really I want to do this.
Oh yeah.
But I ended up I was excited, so I didn't have to set.
There have been years when I stayed up because I felt I needed to get it. Kind of you deciding to get it made sure that I didn't feel that this year. I'm like, well, one of us will have it. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
There have been years when I haven't stayed up and almost felt like, oh, I feel like I'm missing out because I'm not getting the one this year. Because I usually don't do the S years. But this year, I saw a stray headline about it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess that's right. People will be doing that tonight. So I just did not have the impulse or anything.
No, and also I know it's, the times have changed, but I even got on Twitter, like, ooh, who else is doing the midnight thing? And it was like, it just wasn't like it used to be at all. It was like,
I was
if you're
gonna
doing
ask
that, you keep it to yourself.
Right. Because it used to be everybody like, are you guys ready? I'm so excited. Oh my gosh,
like,
keep refreshing.
Like,
You get shamed now.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I'm still excited.
changed.
I'm very excited. But I also didn't have a 10, so.
I didn't buy the first iPhone the day of. We went like the first weekend it was out and stood in line in San Jose and got it.
Like 2007
It might not even have been the
iPhone?
first weekend. iPhone Gen 1, the very first.
Yeah. Well, I think that was 2007, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I misunderstood what you said. Yes.
By the way, I'm behind the times on this, but I just got a PS4 this week. So.
Yay!
IBM PS4? Or?
They didn't make it PS4.
No, they didn't.
So add me,
At me, bro.
bro. Jawbone Len, if you are a PS4 person, and I will never talk to you because I don't.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Go ahead, add me.
Well,
y'all
I don't
ready?
have one yet, but maybe I'll be next.
Yes, I'll add you,
Mm.
and then we won't talk to each other.
No, it's great. Just more of the same.
I have you on Xbox, I think, Len.
Yeah.
So
Do
now
you
I'll
have-
have to add you
Yeah.
to my PS4. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. Here we go. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. I'm serious. Are you ready?
Yeah!
I can't hear you. Come on, brother. Do you smell what Roger is cooking?
No, because I didn't cook anything.
Closest to rocks.
I am Marie the Mary. Yeah.
Okay. Should we have Roger read the opening today? Roger, would you like to?
Ooh.
Okay.
Line 3.
Line 3.
All right. 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Here.
I'm enthusiasm.
Yes, I like it. I like your energy.
It'll be amazing.
Put your back into it.
Yeah. Just think on your feet.
I can. I'm sitting.
Line 3.
Literal man. All right, here we go. 5,
Don't throw your-
4, 3, 2.
Thanks to everyone who supports Daily Tech News Show directly. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, September 14th, 2018 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio K9, I'm Sarah Lane.
Oh!
And from Sailor Snub Studio, I'm Shannon Morse.
And from a partly cloudy mid-September Ohio, I'm Len Peralta.
Ooh, that sounded very poetic.
Thank you.
And from the edges of LA County, it's me, Roger.
Edges of LA County. All right. Only one person should get to say "and" in the future, I think. That was
And well, I didn't put. Well, who put? Eh.
Also, Len, you originally had sunny down.
Yeah, when I wrote it, it was sunny.
All right.
Now it's partly cloudy.
It's always sunny in Cleveland, Ohio, until now. We are going to talk about Nintendo Direct and some of the exciting announcements that came out of that, and also sort of talk about the state of the Switch and where it sits in the console wars. But let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Samsung sent an invite to a Galaxy event on October 11th that promises 4 times the fun. The invite adds, quote, Samsung's newest Galaxy device is bringing more ways to express yourself than ever before.
Now, what they wrote was 4X, which I assume means 4 times 2, but I don't know. What if something else? Quadruple
sure.
X. Fun.
The Samsung 4X is coming.
4Xs. LG sent an invite to an announcement of its V40 ThinQ for October 3rd, 2018. The announcement reads, Take 5, come and see what's next. Rumors have suggested the phone would come with 5 cameras. That's ridiculous.
Isn't Take 5 a boy band?
Oh, yeah. You're right.
I think it is.
Well, maybe they'll play. Google published a teaser page in the Google Store that just has the number 3 and a button to sign up for more info. If you'd like to know more info about the third number in our list of numbers, presumably it's about the Pixel 3. And Google has an event in New York and Paris scheduled for October 9th that coyly uses the number 3. So that's what that's all about. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about Microsoft, what they're buying these days, Shannon.
Microsoft announced it has acquired Lobe, a company that makes drag-and-drop tools to create machine learning models. Lobe launched in beta earlier this year, and Microsoft plans to let it keep operating as it has been while using it in its own efforts to make building AI models easier, like Azure ML Studio platform. And this is pretty cool because they're not only acquiring Lobe, but they've also acquired a couple of other similar type of companies as well, Bonsai AI and Semantic Machines too. So you can definitely see a trend going here.
Yeah, Microsoft is among the, leaders may sound too positive, but one of the companies that is really going after machine learning and try to get in that space. Google, of course, doing it as well. Facebook doing it as well. Others are doing it. It's not like Apple isn't doing it. They're just not as public about it. But I like these companies like Lobe. It's a really slick interface if you get a chance to look at it. Much slicker than Azure ML Studio currently. So I'm assuming they'll be taking that design ethic, if nothing else, and putting it over there and taking some of the difficulty out of it. Now, for those who grew up learning to code HTML by hand, they used to get sort of bent out of shape at all of those editors out there that created the HTML for you. But they're super handy in getting things done quick, and that's kind of what this is for machine learning, which is even more complex.
Mary Meeker's annual Internet Trends reports are hailed as one of the best evaluations of the industry. She's been doing them or something along those lines for decades now, but Mary Meeker will no longer be doing them from Kleiner Perkins, Caulfield and Byers because Meeker joined the VC firm back in 2010, but is now leaving with 3 others to form a new firm. Now, I have to say, before I looked up who the other 3 people were, I was like, yay, women firm. It's not, but that's okay. The story kind of reminds me, Tom, of our conversation from yesterday about how Microsoft at one point was, all anybody could talk about was sort of antitrust because things do change. And Kleiner Perkins is one of the oldest VC firms really of the first .com boom. So the fact that Meeker is leaving is a little bit inside baseball, probably for a lot of folks who don't really care who works at what VC firm, but she's been there a long time and arguably sort of their superstar these days.
Well, and she was a superstar before she went to Kleiner Perkins. It was considered to be a coup for Kleiner Perkins to get her and sort of burnished their reputation because by 2010, Kleiner Perkins was no longer the .com VC firm. And this sort of put to rest like, oh, they're still relevant even in 2010. Look at them getting, snapping up Mary Meeker. Mary Meeker I feel like has outgrown Kleiner Perkins. Maybe that Kleiner Perkins, Caulfield and Byers should have had a Meeker in it and they would have kept her, because it looks like from the tea leaves I've read, particularly the Recode story, it seems like Meeker wants to do things her way. Kleiner didn't really love that, or at least, they wanted to keep things doing things their way. And so they decided to part ways, and publicly they're all being very amicable about it. So there's no reason to think it's anything, but it may just be a difference in opinion. And the thing that Meeker is gambling is that she will be able to continue to be as influential as she has been at Kleiner because she's Mary Meeker. And I think that's a good bet.
Yeah, I mean, this is not unlike somebody working at a established tech firm, right? And you go like, well, but your job is so good. What do you care? It's all it's all gravy, right? But this is what happens, especially when firms that give companies money to create technology that we all use get long in the tooth. Things change. People start new firms.
And if you're out there going like, wait, who's Mary Meeker again? It's the Internet Trends Report. We talk about it every year because it is usually spot on. If for no other reason that it summarizes exactly what's hot right now, but also does a great job of pointing out these are the things you want to keep an eye on for the next year or so.
Yeah, it's a slideshow she's been doing at the Code Conference for the last few years, but she was doing it at Web putting this together. Yes, for
she was doing it at Morgan Stanley. She was doing it before she went to Morgan Stanley. She's been doing that slideshow, I don't know, since the 90s, I think. So anyway, Meeker stands alone and don't need nobody else. I'll be curious if the new VC firm has like a funky, cool name, or it's just a person name with Meeker's name in
Meeker and Co. Perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, moving on, NVIDIA has a new tool called NVIDIA Scanner available for the RTX 2080 graphics cards. It promises one-click overclocking by running workload tests and checking the voltage curve for failures, which NVIDIA says it should take about 20 minutes. NVIDIA says the scanner will also be available for older generations of GPUs, and it's also working with MSI, Gigabyte, Asus, and other card makers on an API for existing GPU management tools. So this NVIDIA scanner tool, it's going to be software that's going to be kind of sold with a lot of these GPUs that are coming to market from all of those other retailers like they mentioned, and possibly some other retailers that have not been mentioned yet. And this is making overclocking super, super simple, because for the longest time, it takes forever to overclock. So 20 minutes has been kind of non-existent up to this point. So the RTX 2080 and NVIDIA Scanner is introducing something completely new to the video gaming industry and allows pretty much anybody to be able to overclock as long as they have this kind of GPU.
This and the drag and drop machine learning really, in my head, I'm imagining some person out there saying they're making it too easy. I remember when I had to spend all day to overclock a GPU or a CPU. Kids these days, they don't understand.
20 minutes. Good grief.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, there's an honest reason to want to do it yourself. You learn a lot when you do stuff like that. I get that. But if the whole point is I just want to have the speed, I mean, why wouldn't you love this? 20 minutes to overclock a GPU, which is tricky.
Yeah, and it's pretty ridiculous. However, a lot of people are touting that the RTX 2080s are going to be a lot faster than the 1080s. So you could also argue that you don't even need to overclock to be able to do most processing powers that you would generally need on a day-to-day usage. Even for my video editing or normal video gaming that, I personally do, or like my husband does, we don't necessarily need to overclock. But if you're doing a lot more power-intensive work, for example, if you're generating algorithms or using this at a scientific level, then this would be extremely useful from that use case scenario.
I mean, I'm sure people do overclock for those reasons, but most of the people I've ever known overclock because they just can, right? Like they just.
I mean, it's a very interesting proposition because it's something that Intel has sort of been doing with Turbo Boost on their CPUs, right, which is to basically give you overhead on your existing hardware that you purchased. And I'm wondering if down the line, NVIDIA will start binning parts on their overclock ability. So, hey, if you get a Founders Edition, you're gonna get guaranteed 30% overhead overclocking ability on whatever you buy. And everything else is just kind of a toss-up of whatever you get when the manufacturer sources the parts from NVIDIA. So I am definitely very fascinated by this, and I'm going to keep my eye on it because it's one of those things that sounds cool, but I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Disclaimer, I did get paid by NVIDIA to go to Gamescom last month to report on the keynote and report on the convention over there. So hopefully I can get an RTX 2080 in to review for my own shows. And if that's possible, Roger, I'll let you know how that overclocking goes.
Yeah, because there's some people who are skeptical that it's going to be enough performance in the right areas.
Exactly.
So it'll be fun to test.
Google Chrome 70 beta can now support fingerprint sensors in Android and macOS. Yay! Web developers can use fingerprints to authenticate access. Chrome is also adding web Bluetooth support to Windows 10 and adding an experimental shape detection API for identifying faces, barcodes, and text in images.
Yeah, so Bluetooth support was already available pretty much everywhere else but Windows 10. That's thank goodness it's finally here. Android and macOS getting fingerprint sensors is pretty cool. Like, I love the idea of being able to authenticate on my device that way.
As much as possible.
It's interesting that they're not doing Touch ID. And maybe that's because they're like, well, that one's kind of going away. Like, why bother? Why prioritize that?
I think this is really cool from like a two-factor authentication standpoint. Like you'll be able to authenticate more often on like your Android phone to websites or to applications that want to authenticate you that way. And if you're not too privy on the idea of downloading an additional application like Authy or Google Authenticator, or maybe you don't want to buy a third-party platform like a YubiKey, then you could just authenticate with your fingerprint through Google Chrome. So they are making this, in my mind, a little bit more convenient from a security level, and any more convenience for security is highly appreciated in my standards.
Yeah. So the security of the fingerprint sensor mechanism itself from Android and macOS aside, because that, especially in Android, that can be a question, and certainly a question with macOS too. I'm just saying with Android, it's multiple partners doing it, so you have to evaluate them individually. I just want to say, thumb is something I always have. My second factor. So
it's not going to change.
Secure,
on macOS, I'm all index, no thumbs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you know what? You're right. I actually do index on the laptop thumbprint.
I think it's just it's the way that it's laid out. But
hopefully I'm not
either here or there.
So, yeah.
As long as it's me.
Lifehacker has a handy guide to getting iOS 12 right now, rather than wait until next week. It's coming to everybody on the 17th, but there's this golden window where you may have realized already that the Gold Master of iOS 12 is out in beta. Gold Master is usually identical to the public release. So between now and the 17th, if you go and you're not already signed up at beta.apple.com, you can sign up from Safari on your iOS device. It's probably easiest. And then reset your phone, go to software update under the general settings, get that new operating system. It'll be pretty much identical to the one that's coming out next week. And then if you're like, look, I'm just not in the beta game. Like people who are already in the beta, you already have this. This is for people who are like, well, I want it now, but I didn't want to be in all the betas earlier on. So get it, download it, and then unregister yourself by removing the iOS 12 beta software profile in your settings. You'll keep the beta version of iOS 12. It'll be identical to the one that comes out on the 17th. And then from then on, you'll get the normal updates that everyone else gets.
This seems like something that should not work. It does, at least for now.
And there's always a possibility that the Golden Master doesn't have everything that comes out on the 17th. That's pretty unlikely, though. It's just one of those things where I realize, like, you get to choose when you get an update.
You're right.
Days,
yeah.
Right. Like you could have had this already if you were part of the beta program. I know lots of people are in the beta program, but earlier in the process, like when iOS 13 or whatever they end up calling it comes out, it'll be a little buggier at first. And some people are like, you know what? I rely on this phone for work. I don't want it to be buggy, but I do want iOS 12 earlier when it's not buggy. And this is the one that's not buggy. So, kind of a cool way to dive on in.
I will be doing this.
Let us know how it goes.
I will.
Folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. All right, Nintendo Direct announced a bunch of software, which has been a concern. Nintendo Switch has been selling really well. In fact, Nintendo kind of tries to argue that it sells better than the PlayStation over equivalent time periods, etc. But the sales have been slowing, and a lot of people think that's because of a lack of continuous game releases, both from Nintendo and third parties. Well, they're trying to fix that. Luigi's Mansion 3 and a new Animal Crossing game coming to Nintendo Switch in 2019. Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10, X2 HD Remaster, 10 to HD Remaster, and 12 are also coming to Switch in 2019. More than a dozen other titles were also announced. Plus, Nintendo has pairs of wireless NES controllers for the Switch. If you sign up for a Nintendo Switch Online membership, which goes live September 18th, you can pay $60 for a pair of wireless NES controllers that will be shipping in mid-December. Civilization coming, EA Sports FIFA 20 or FIFA 19 coming, Katamari Damacy Reroll coming. I mean, Shannon, they threw out a lot of names of titles in this.
Oh, yes, they did. And I am super excited about it because, like, I have my Nintendo Switch right here and I take it with me everywhere I go in this world, including when I went to Germany last month. So I'm very stoked about this. But I think one of the coolest and most interesting ones that they decided to release is a whole series of Final Fantasy games, which was just introduced, including Final Fantasy VII is in there. Hilariously, they skipped Final Fantasy VIII, which I thought was really funny because a lot of people don't like that game. So I was like,
nobody wants it. So
they were like, well, it won't sell, so might as well not. Final Fantasy 9, 10, there's 12 HD remaster, there's a 10-2 HD remaster, and then there's Final Fantasy 12. But we don't have exact specific dates for those releases yet, and we don't also have the prices either for a lot of these games. So a lot of folks
stuff is part of Nintendo Online, or Switch Online. So I'm curious if that would be true of Final Fantasy or if it'd be some sort of separate pack.
Yeah, so hopefully they would be included with Switch Online, which is also releasing again, like you said, in 4 days. And luckily, that's only going to cost about $20 a year, so it'll be a really decent price to be able to play a lot of those old games. And Switch Online is also going to be including games that are the classic Final Fantasies too, and they will also have a lot of the classic Zeldas and classic Super Mario games as well that you'll be able to play on there. But again, those dates aren't finally confirmed. We just know that they're going to be coming out sometime in 2019, and that's about it. Now, one of the interesting ones that I thought was kind of cool is that they're announcing digital board games that you'll be able to play, like Settlers of Catan and Pandemic. Which is really, really interesting in that you'll be able to, play multiplayer games that are supposed to be board games, on a tabletop on your Switches. Which arguably would also help them sell a lot more of these too, because multiple people will be able to play on multiple Switches together.
And according to a source very close to the show, Munchkin is going to be one of those games as well.
That's right.
Oh,
someone we know did art for Munchkin.
Yeah.
At some point. So he's yeah. No, Len put that in the show notes as well. So add that to the board games. That's a really cool idea. I love that. And the genius of the Nintendo Switch has been that it doesn't compete with the PlayStation or the Xbox. I mean, Xbox is getting these Final Fantasies too, but it's just feels different that they're coming to Nintendo. Remember, Nintendo tweeted back on June 30th after they announced they had sold 19.67 million Switches that after approximately 16 months, PS4 had sold 20.2 million units. The Switch has sold 19.6 million in 15 months. And the PS4 did their 20 million with 2 holiday seasons, while the Switch only went through 1. So, they're trying to make the comparison, but I see the Switch and its success in part due to the fact that you don't pick the Switch over the Xbox or the PlayStation. You pick it in addition to it.
Absolutely.
In a lot of cases.
It's very interesting because this whole map of releases is very Nintendo, right? Like you sock it full of reissues of old games that are popular, so you're playing it safe there, and then you do a bunch of sequels of titles people already like, so you already have a built-in audio. It's very much Nintendo's wheelhouse of, hey, we're just going to repackage stuff that you've played before. We'll add maybe some, a fresh coat of paint and some new features, but it's the same game you've always liked. And we know people like playing it because we still sell it on Steam. We sell, a catalog, we sell like, a back catalog for PS3 and PS4 and Xbox. It's very telling that they're very comfortable where they're at, right? Because they're not desperate where, oh, we need to release a brand new title, a new franchise, something that, it's going to whet people's appetite. We're comfortable where we are. We can do all this stuff, and we know where we're going to be, in 6-12 months time in terms of market share.
Is that also the criticism, though? Is that Nintendo is too comfortable and they just keep trading on old IP rather than coming up with something new?
And, it's really interesting because that's it. What I've learned, I used to work at GameSpot, and we doing all the game coverage and just talking about the game editors and reviewers. It really depends on where you sit. If you're very nostalgic, this stuff is like, gold. If you're more of the kind of like, I don't really have a cultural or history with these titles, so they don't have the same pull on me, you kind of shrug your shoulders. And that's very much a legitimate argument that Nintendo oftentimes tends to play it safe until they get themselves in a bind. For example, at the Wii U, and they do something very, very very interesting, very out of the box, like the Switch. And they spin it all around, but then they come back, right? They just come back home where they feel comfortable, and where they necessarily aren't, like what you were saying, they aren't competing with PS4, they aren't competing with Xbox, they aren't competing with Steam. They are just nurturing the fan base, and hopefully, I don't know if that fan base will grows any, but it's there all the time, and so it's an X amount of dollars that they can expect to pull in.
I think that a fan base always has the ability to grow with like younger generations, or even with more people being introduced to these older fandoms in time, especially as we've seen as a general synopsis of, the popularity of pop culture has grown a lot in popularity in the past few years. So seeing things like Final Fantasy and Zelda becoming more popular with the mainstream, I think that would probably help Nintendo Switches grow too. And I'm even one of those households that has 2 Switches, not by my choice, because I had the first one, but my husband decided to buy one alongside. We also have a PS4, so it's a perfect example of what you were mentioning, Tom.
The board game stuff is very fascinating to me because everyone and their mother has tried some spin on this, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Sony. Sony pulled out that one, was it for the PS3 that had it came with a webcam and the big kind of rollout board, game board and stuff. Trying to integrate that into a video game environment has always been very kind of a nebulous thing, right? Do you just make it online only where someone sits with a controller and plays someone online? Is it something that if you need to make it so everyone around the room, say you have 4 or 5 friends with you to play, how do you integrate that without, literally adding a $50, packaged add-on that's the board game with the pieces and all that stuff, and stuff like that. No one's figured it out quite yet, and I'm really, really curious to see how Nintendo works with that.
One thing I wanted to mention as well with the Nintendo Switch news is the fact that they are, as we mentioned, they're introducing new bundles that come with a Pikachu-themed console, for example, and a Super Smash Brothers console too. And these are just artistically refined to be plastered with Pikachu on the front, or plastered with Pokemon, or plastered with Super Smash Brothers characters. While with other consoles, a lot of times you see them come out with newer models of their consoles. Like with the PS4, we have the Pro model that has newer technology on the inside. With Nintendo Switch, we don't see that. We just see the outside has been changed a little bit, the color scheme or the characters that are plastered on it. We don't see new technology on the inside. So I think that they're very comfortable with what they're doing with the Switch again, and they know that they're going to continue selling these to a lot more people. It's not just going to be the folks that got, the very first one that was, what was it, blue and red.
Yeah, I think you could choose from 2 different styles. One with the blue red. I think one was just black and black. But You're right. They aren't doing upgrades to technology because they built a machine that doesn't rely on having the fastest technology to be appealing. And yeah, Xbox and Sony, they do these kind of, you know, special branded versions where it's just, you know, the Call of Duty sticker on there, or so, you know, Call of Duty art on there. They do that as well. But they also do those upgraded ones that Shannon was talking about, and we're not seeing Nintendo do that. This is their big holiday seller, which is, you know, we're going to put Pikachu on there. Hope you enjoy, and lots of people will. Also, going back to something Roger said real quick before we wrap up, it is interesting how Nintendo plays on nostalgia in two ways. One is just bringing back old games as part of Nintendo Online and giving you wireless NES controllers, but also upgrading. My wife's super excited that a new Animal Crossing is coming out. Animal Crossing, definitely an old franchise, has been around for more than a decade, but they're going to do something with it on the Switch that's new. And so you kind of keep bringing people back into the realm. She hasn't played the Switch more than 1 or 2 times. I know when this comes out, she'll be picking it up all the time. Maybe we'll end up being like Shannon and her husband and having to get 2. We'll see.
Well, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit, Nintendo Stories aplenty, but many more as well. You can submit stories and vote on others at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. We're also on Facebook. Check us out, facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
Oh, mailbag. What comes forth from ye today?
Ye mailbag. Sakani writes, and this is in reference to our conversation yesterday about Amazon being too big to fail and what it all means. Sakani says, is it a thing to consider a company too big that it's harmful if there's an issue with name recognition? For example, Amazon is the first and, to some people, the only destination for online shopping. When my wife and I, for various reasons, decided to drop our Prime membership, it took us a while to adjust to finding certain products elsewhere. The alternatives exist, but it seems like it takes way more effort than it should to remind consumers that those alternatives are actually around. Some even offer free shipping or same-day delivery, and you don't need to pay a membership fee. Just a random thought. Can a company that consumers like too much be anti-competitive?
Sakani, I think, is hitting on what the legislators are wanting to shift the antitrust conversation to, which is Amazon dominates in the platform. Even if it benefits consumers, it's anti-competitive because it has a bad effect on the marketplace itself. And that, you know, if it's not hurting consumers, it's a harder argument to make. But, you know, go back to yesterday's show if you want to pursue that line of argument. Sakani's living the effect of that argument, which is, yeah, it may be beneficial for me, but if I don't want to choose it or I don't want to pay for Prime anymore, it does make life more difficult.
Right. Well, and I mean, it reminds me of how I feel about Google. I don't really have any problems with Google. I like it very much. Are there competitive things to consider? Yes, there are.
Yeah.
Certainly things to consider, but I still find it a great product compared to, the competition.
Once I finish moving and all of that stress is out of the way, I want to get back to this idea of taking a challenge to not use Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google.
Oh, what?
A month.
I didn't realize this was a thing.
Yeah, no, I mentioned it maybe once before, but I've been toying with the idea of, can you make it a month without using those 4? Because if you can't, that's a problem. You should be able to not use those 4 companies if you want to.
I challenge you to do this.
Yeah, I know.
I look forward to your
wait until
results.
I moved in, okay? And then you can change.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's check in with Len Peralta, who's been illustrating this episode. What do you got, Len?
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for giving me something fun like Nintendo to draw on my first day back after a while. I don't have a Switch. I grew up on Nintendo. I know there's tons of people that are excited about it, including Luigi, who of course has a new game. But the one thing I always notice is that it's like, it's just is it another Mario game? I'd love to see more new stuff for Nintendo as opposed to just going back to the sad little Animal Crossing guy who's kind of a complaining.
Got Tom Nook back there. I know who that is.
It's an unimpressed bear panda.
Yeah, I think it's a raccoon. Is what it is.
Okay. Unimpressed raccoon. Got it. Yeah.
I know a lot of people are excited about it, and but it would be great. I'm glad to see the board games. That's kind of exciting. But I'd love to see more stuff coming out for the Switch and Nintendo as well. So hopefully that'll be coming down the wire. So so you can get this print right now over at lenperaltastore.com, or if you become one of my Patreons at patreon.com/Len, you get this with everything else. And on a personal note, I just want to take a few seconds to say thank you very much to the DTNS community for your support over the past couple weeks. It's been a hard month, and I got some really, really beautiful, nice messages from everybody. So I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, and thank you for the support.
You're welcome, Len. On behalf.
And thanks for being with us. We love you, Len.
Oh, we love you guys, of course.
Well, you know who else we love? We love Shannon Morse. Yay. Thanks to Shannon Morse for being with us. We missed you as well, Shannon. So happy to hear that your recent travel has been going well. What else can people catch up on from your life?
Oh, I've missed y'all too. So I've been working really hard on Tech Thing over at tekthing.com. Most recently, we got in a couple of really awesome devices. The ThinkPad X1 Carbon from Lenovo, so we got to review that. And oh my gosh, the screen on it was beautiful. I fell in love. And the Moto Z3 5G, which is going to be the first 5G phone on Verizon. So that was really interesting to play with, and I had a lot of fun with that. And then, of course, we have ThreatWire over at hack5.org. And most recently, I did a whole feature about the North Korean hacker that was charged against a bunch of different things that were happening in the hackerverse, as well as some interesting news about Fortnite. And I never thought I would talk about Fortnite on ThreatWire, but I did a couple of weeks ago. So definitely check out hak5.org or youtube.com/hack5 for those. And our shows are also on Patreon. So thank you so much to all of our patrons who also support DTNS as well.
If you are one of 10 people out there and you do not already support us on Patreon, I want you to do us a big favor right now. If you can afford $1 a month, head to patreon.com/DTNS and sign up. Why do I say 1 out of 10? Because we need 10 people to sign up to get to our goal of at least one more patron than last month. And you get the satisfaction of knowing you're supporting Daily Tech News Show and making it better. 90+% of our funding comes directly from the people who listen to the show, and you should be one of them. So check it out. There's lots of other cool perks too. Patreon.com/DTNS.
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Want to send us a picture of you wearing some DTNS gear? We would love it. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
We'll be back on Monday. Don't you worry about that. Justin Robert Young will be here too. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
See, I told you. That was a really fun show. No one believed me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Contrary to. Nice.
I don't know why you were all so opposed to me.
Yeah, I was like,
I showed you.
I never want to talk about video games. Man.
Your naivete is outstanding.
I'm sorry to be Mr. Rogers every day at the end of the show, but it's just really muggy down here. So,
what do you mean? Oh, you're talking about wardrobe.
I'm taking off my jacket. And I'm putting on loafers.
Odie.
And a sweater. I won't be putting on a sweater, though. Woo! I love your art again, Len.
Yeah, it's
Thank
so
you so
good.
much.
And when I say again, it's not like I didn't used to and now I'm back. I mean, like every week. I always love it.
Oh, well, thanks. It was a nice one to draw. It was very fun.
It's special to me because when we got the GameCube, when Eileen and I were first living together, before we were even married, we got the GameCube. And it was one of the things we bonded about because we played Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, and SSX Tricky.
Oh, wow.
Those were like the 3 big games we played all the time. So it's very well represented in your...
Oh, that's awesome. That's fun. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Luigi and Mario. I just want to see something new.
I am with you.
Yeah.
Why do you hate Luigi so much, Len?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you why. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, the thing is, it's like it's been 20+ years. Crank out a new It doesn't mean you have to get rid of the old franchises.
Right.
Just crank out one new one that everyone gets excited for.
I'd be okay if they did a Sailor Moon video game. Just saying.
They have
something
but
different.
they've all been shoot 'em ups.
Well,
How's everything going with Sailor Moon, Shannon?
It was a Sony one. Good.
Yeah?
I'm still buying way too much Sailor Moon merchandise, and
I
my
couldn't tell.
videos are coming out all the time, and I'm having so much fun.
Nice.
So it's
Good.
really enjoyable. It's a great
Good.
little hobby channel.
Hey,
I'm having such a
What's
blast.
your
love
preferred
a hobby that you truly enjoy, right?
what's your preferred site for buying all your Sailor Moon swag?
Depends on what I'm looking for. I use specific sites for specific things, like Premium Bandai for most of the like makeup and women's clothing and purses and things like that. And then I use I have a personal shopper in Japan that goes to the Sailor Moon store to buy a lot of stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I go through him to buy a lot of things, and then he just charges like 15% or 10% plus shipping. So it's not bad at all compared to the prices that eBay
How do you know if
has.
things like will fit you? Like you just give him your measurements and he goes, or
Most of the Japanese measurements, I just size up by like 2 sizes, and then it's correct. So if I'm a small here, I'm like a large in Japan.
See, that's
And then if
why
it doesn't fit, I'll sell
I
it on
love
eBay.
it. I'm like, I'm a large.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, I'm so big.
Yeah. Like extra small, too small, actually. Huh. Doesn't happen very often.
titles. Google gives Chrome the finger port sensor support, giving Chrome the finger.
Roger takes the lead.
There's
Roger takes the
underwhelming.
lead. I don't get that.
Because
I
we had
read
him
the
really.
He started the
lead to
show.
Oh, he took the. Got it.
Underwhelming
It'd
overclocking.
almost be like LEDE. Would be funny.
Let's see, where's the Nintendo one?
Nintendo does what the others.
Oh,
don't.
there's the Eileen is excited for Animal Crossing on Switch.
She would love that, I'm sure. Be like, why?
Has Eileen made it into DTNS headlines in the past?
I don't think so.
No. All right. Well, today's not your day either, Eileen.
I like click to overclock.
That one's good.
Where's that? Clicked overclock? Sure.
Yeah.
It's just snappy.
Silver Blade.
So I bought the PS4 just to play Spider-Man, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm not disappointed. It's a good game.
Everyone loves Spider-Man.
It's
You
the
should
Spider.
you should definitely try The Last of Us.
I like The Last of Us is awesome. Horizon
Yeah.
Zero Dawn is beautiful.
I got
really good.
Spider-Man and I got God of War, so I'm gonna play. through
After God
Spider-Man.
of War 3, it got really just kind of.
No, I think this one, the new God of War, is supposed to be awesome.
Is it?
Yeah.
I would also recommend any of the Uncharted's. Although
Yes,
if you
of
play it
course.
sequentially, the story makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I love it. Is there a new Uncharted on PS4?
No, there's supposed to be an
Last
upcoming
year,
one.
I think, right?
Oh, I gotta get that. I love Uncharted. Really, really good.
Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
A Lost Legacy.
Yeah, maybe I'll get that next. I
Yeah,
love it.
Rob Krekel, who lives near here, he's kind of a Diamond Club adjacent person, did some sound on Uncharted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
He works for the dog.
Naughty Dog. Naughty.
Naughty Dog.
So naughty.
I like God
That
of
was
War
Otis
because
yesterday, but not anymore.
the fighting in God of War is very satisfying.
Are they still Greek gods? Because it'd be nice. Oh wait, the new one's like Norse gods, right? Or no?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. I just played the beginning. I'm really loving Spider-Man. So.
God of War, American Gods.
Nicolas Cage. What was that movie? God of
War. Lord of War.
Lord of War. Yeah, I'm like
I was thinking American Gods, the Stars series based on the Neil Gaiman novel.
Yeah, right.
different.
Yeah, you
different
play
War God
the.
franchise. Yeah.
They
Lord
move
of
the.
War. Yeah.
They move the
Wasn't very good
pantheon to the Norse gods.
Hmm.
What they
have a lot
should
to-
do is allow you to basically fight all the old pagan religion deities. So it could be like, the Egyptian gods versus the Norse gods. And,
Is that not what kind of a game it is?
No,
No.
it's more of you're a demigod that goes around and beats up
Yeah.
various
Other
bosses
gods.
that are
So it's not the Romans against the Greeks like Street
Oh
Fighter.
my God.
Nah, it's just a big fighting game.
You're a bully god.
Beating stuff up. Yeah.
Jupiter versus
You're a
Zeus.
bully god. You need to chill out.
Yeah, he's what's his name? Kratos? Is that still his name?
Mm-hmm. Kratos.
He needs some anger management.
He does. Now I gotta get after this. I'm gonna play Uncharted 4. After all this, I have a lot of games to catch up on.
You have work to do, Len.
I do,
Yeah.
and they're
I have a lot
probably
of games to
all
play too.
cheap. I can get them used, which is good.
Well, the new Tomb Raider just released 2 days ago, so I gotta finish downloading that.
Roger, after our conversation yesterday, I took out the Game Boy, played a little Tetris.
Oh, that game is
Yeah.
great. If
Lest you think I do not game.
Tetris.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, we got him, Alexei Pajanov, on the screensavers. It's a great
I
game.
mean,
Nice.
I think, this was.
Paperboy is the game on Game
Hasn't-
Boy.
Paperboy, all about that paper. Oh wait, that's different. That's from Atlanta.
Paperboy.
Love that guy. Love Paperboy.
It's like they have a game for Paperboy from Atlanta.
Yeah. And it's just him being like, I don't want to be with you, weird person taking me around Atlanta.
Why can't I just make money?
Right.
Oh, it's Robin season again.
Oh, I don't want to go to the barbershop.
All right. I'm gonna start my weekend, guys.
Oh, well, you know what? I think that's a great idea.
We're not a part of your weekend?
Yeah. No, you
What do
kick
you
it
mean
off.
start it?
He's saying we're starting.
TGIF, Len.
He's
No,
starting
that's
the weekend
right.
right now with us, right?
This is the start of it, right here with you guys.
We've kicked off a great weekend. Okay,
have.
I'll take that. I'll take
You
that.
have.
Say.
It's like
Good save, Len. Good save.
it's like a rock station at 5:00 on Friday.
That's right. I'm gonna start playing that Todd Rundgren
Get the
song.
lead out.
I wonder if any of those DJs
don't
leave early to
wanna
beat Rush Hour because they, report on Rush Hour and they just have a tape.
It's
All right, I'm out of here.
Friday.
It's Friday, everybody.
It's Friday and I don't want to do my job.
Friday.
Working for the weekend.
So suffer.
Monday, I got Friday on
You
my
did a piece of
mind.
my heart.
That video is the
Everybody's
weirdest
working.
video because it starts off as like a quasi documentary. They're just talking about it and then they break into the song.
Really? This is not a video I know, but I
Loverboy?
love that song.
Waiting for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna go listen to some
Working?
Cinderella too, in your honor. sir.
Working for the weekend. No.
You and me both, Len. You
Cinderella.
and me both.
The Cinderella story.
Right.
Isn't that
Len
what they say?
Peralta, the Cinderella story.
Isn't
Yes.
that like the whole sports
story?
angle? Like it's a Cinderella story.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but I don't think the band Cinderella had much of a Cinderella story. They just had
Yeah.
some hits.
They had some good
And I
hair.
think by hits I mean two.
2
It's
hits.
2 hits.
I always
Fast
felt like the
songs
lead
too.
singer of that band needed like dental surgery, or
What?
Nobody's fool, right? That's
Yeah.
one of them.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
then what's the one the one that we always talk about on the show? Of course now I can't remember the name of it. But
Cinderella's a skunk.
Nobody's fool. Nobody's fool. Don't know what you got.
Ah,
I don't know what it is.
they're still touring. 2010 to 2017.
And I always end up singing Peter Cetera by accident. And I found out a little.
Weirdly, the voices are
Mm-hmm.
similar.
No, exactly.
Kind of
That's the problem.
high. Yeah.
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 Wow,
In fact,
they
yeah.
have a very interesting lineup. Keyboardists and drummers are the ones that switched out. The bassist, guitarist, and the vocal kind of kept the same.
Sorry, I logged off there for a second.
Oh, is that a hint? It's okay. We'll let you go.
Len's like,
No,
I
I-
said I was leaving.
You're reminiscing.
accidentally hit Apple Q, and then like everything.
You didn't
closed
want us
down.
to think that you had triumphantly flounced out.
Oh no, I was talking. Why would I leave in the middle of a discussion about Cinderella?
Nobody would. Nobody would.
Nobody would.
Nobody-
Come on. That was a mistake.
Not your fool.
Unless you're somebody's fool.
I'm nobody's fool. All right. Hey, man, every rose has its thorn. That's not so
Wrong band.
All right. You know what? Now we're jumping into some sort of like poisonous stuff.
All right, guys. All right. See ya.
All right.
Bye,
Bye for real
Len.
now.
Bye, Len.
Bye.
Saturday night's all right for fighting.
Yay.
I got in trouble at the Rock Zone, WGEL, for starting my Saturday night 8 to midnight shift with Saturday night's all right for fighting every week. I thought I was super cool. It's like, hey, it's Saturday night. This gets everybody all excited. And then the program director's like, can you not play that every week? I mean, there's other songs about Saturday you could play.
In fact, there's this fine album.
Did they not appreciate the fact that you're like, no, but I'm creating a thing that people look forward to. They know what I'm going to play first.
Yeah. No, they appreciated the fact that I was an annoying 17-year-old that they knew a lot more about.
It was also called the Rock Zone.
Yeah,
You should
What zone is this? The Rock Zone.
And it was a metal show. So starting with Elton John was already a little bit.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's a rockin' Elton John. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
It
They're
is
like, where's
like
my
Candle in the
Cinderella?
Wind. Yeah.
Um,
We played a lot of
Well,
Cinderella on the Rock Zone.
we'll answer that question on the audio stream.
Yes. I will give you a complete playlist from the Rock Zone on if you're listening to audio. Video people, thanks a lot. Audio people, stick around. There's more to come.
Bye.